All right, I'm cruising the land, and today we're going to be talking Rome Adventure case. First, we'll go over kind of all the features that this case offers, and then how is it doing the weather? Is this really worth it? And lastly, different ways to mount it. So first off, at first glance, this has got to be one of the sexiest cases out there. You see this on someone's rig sitting on their Prinsu front runner or whatever rack they're using, and you say, whoa, that is cool. So from their really cool logo to just the way the case has got that traditional utilitarian look. I like how it has all the reinforcements here. They have gouges so you can put a strap going across this way, this way, this way. So different ways to mount it, and that's what we're going to go over today. So is it worth it? Because it definitely is not cheap. This is an expensive case, especially, with supply chain issues, plastics going up. This is LPDE, if I'm saying that right. It's the same plastic they use for plastic bags, but this is obviously, 1,000 times thicker. So heavy duty. You can stand on this thing, and I like the latches. So you can see these latches. They go down. You have a little spot that you can do some security. That's not going to take a lot of locks, and that's going to be a thick, a thin lock that's going to be locking this that someone can easily cut through. But there's other ways that you can secure this down, not just like that. So let's pop it open. And I've got some gear in there, some of my mounting gear to show you. And it doesn't come with this. You do have to buy this. This is just over $100. That is the organizer. And it ultimately, there are some receptacles to basically screw down. And this thing ain't going anywhere. It's locked in there. Now, and I recommend getting this because either you can get the Molly or this organizer. You can put so much gear, clothing usually, that you want to keep dry and up there. Socks, change underwear, that sort of stuff. All the tools and the dirty stuff can go below. So one thing you'll notice, if you're looking at some older videos, version 1 of the case had the hydraulic shock from here to here, right? So what they found is it wasn't giving it a good close. It would kind of like sag if this got too heavy. So now the attachment's here and here. This is the new way they do it, just in case you don't do it. It doesn't come as a DIY. It comes all screwed in, but they changed the way. The only recommendation I would have is maybe the way it bolts in here, a solid block here possibly, if anybody from Rome's listening. But apart from that, it is sweet. And, here is a groove, another way to strap down your case and go through the back. You can see how they leave a hole there. But if you do that, yeah, you're going to have a strap going across, have to contend with it. However, if you do that, at least you can close and open your case. If you're putting your strap over here, well, you're going to have to undo that strap, undo these clamps to access your gear inside. So I think this is a good feature if you're doing cross country and you're not going to be wanting to get into your box, for a week while you're going cross country. Yeah, you can secure it that way. Otherwise, you can run your strap through here, cam strap or ratchet tie down, however you see fit. I've seen people use heavy duty zip ties going through these channels. So he's got 3 open channels. When you buy the case, it comes with 2 handles, and they're heavy-duty handles. I really like them. A good grip, solid straps. And if I pulled this down, there's a little buckle that this... let's get underneath there. There we go. So you got a buckle that attaches the strap. So totally solid. You don't usually have it there. You usually put it on the side here. But the reason why I've moved that first one is because the way I'm mounting it, I need access to that. So I'm going to move this to that side. So if this is ever a heavy case, you get one person on that side, one person on this side, and that'll help balance it off, as long as the weight ratio is spread nicely. But what a sexy case. Comes in 4 colors. What you see here is black. Comes with a slate, so that's gray, and then it'll come with a desert tan and a OD green. So just depending, if you want to have it match your truck. To me, this is going, actually not on this truck. I got a couple Land Cruisers. This is going to go on that truck, which we'll see tomorrow because I got to prep the mount. I got to decide what mount to do. So that's what I got in the box now. So you can use, you know, a budget way of mounting this with a ratchet strap long enough to possibly go through here to tie down, and you can go underneath your bars and then to the other side, to this side, and then have your ratchet. You know, you can do a cam strap. Again, it's got to be long, so you're going to want to have something that's what, 10 feet, 12 feet. But then if you do that, you'd still want to attach maybe the back side. You can put some straps coming through just like the handle is, except it's a strap to tie down to your roof rack. So those are some options. For me, that's temporary, so I ain't going to be doing it. Let's get rid of that. The next one, oh yeah, that's a sexy one. There's another sexy one there, but let's look at this. So if you have a budget in mind, this is roughly $30 or $40 if you want to have it finished. And what happens here is, let me remove something I got in here. Hang on, pause. Okay, and we moved our case. So this is from Sherpa, and ultimately it goes right down that fitting, and then this comes low enough below your case where you can attach that through the rail on any Prinsu Forerunner racks, front runner I should say, not Forerunner. Front runner goes on a Forerunner. But anyhow, obviously you can see where you can attach it down here, and this has, you know, so you can have it, you know, at the exact height you want, and presto. It's an inexpensive way, but it's kind of not a permanent, but a semi-permanent way to attach your case, because you have to unscrew this to get this off to remove your case off your roof rack. So if you're wanting to mount it permanently, that's an excellent solution over at Sherpa. And if you have the 83 liter, it's a different size T-bar. Okay, it's going to be shorter than that. But if you're wanting to, like if you're a weekend warrior and your rig is your daily, so you park underground, you want to remove your case, right? So if you want to remove your case, then it brings you to two options. Well, let's say remove your case quickly, because again, you can remove it with that, but you're going to have to undo 4 bolts on each side. Maybe you're home late at night on Sunday and that's the last thing you want to do. You want to get your gear inside, hit the hay because you're working the next day. So then that brings us to 2 other mounts, which this will be a little later in my video. I just wanted to show you quickly. EO2, really strange name. It stands for easy on, easy off. The way this works is you have a rail in the bottom, just like your roof rack. So whenever you get this, you actually need mounts to kind of marry each, you know, you can't go carriage bolt to carriage bolt. So you'll have to have a mount here that can have a bolt. So you mount something to your rail, which I have something, I'll show you, and then put your carriage bolt and then bolt underneath. So there's that issue. So you're actually buying mounts to mount your mount, if you really think about it. But once this is on, you have a second plate that is underneath this case, which I actually have on there now. Let's take a look. So there we go. So that clicks onto it. And once it's clicked onto it, ain't anything taking that off. And what's interesting is it could withstand, let's say, 10,000 pounds of pressure. You can drive 100 miles an hour. Your case is solid. But when you want to remove it, you just put 10 to 20 pounds of pressure just on the corner, just to get leverage. And all of a sudden, it's coming off. And that's all the technology and the patent behind this, because it's got tongue and groove, where right there, you see that on each side. Well, the bottom is what has the tongue and groove, and it just snaps in and it stays in place. So phenomenal product. The only concern I have, I talked to the owner, and it's one of those cases of manufacturer that was making it for the inventor, invested a lot of money, and is now trying to, I guess, snake the business away. So they really slowed down sales, limited options right now to get this. I don't know if they're going back to press. So I would say in about a year from now, from the time of this video, these might not even be available unless a big investor comes in. And if you're looking to invest, this technology is phenomenal. You can mount TVs, mount stuff to ATVs, motorcycles on the back. It doesn't have to be such a big plate. The technology can be much smaller. So Very cool, especially when you see it get mounted. I digress. So let's now go to our next item, which is the new rugged mount. Just came out, and this thing is badass. Real quick, when you're talking price, because I did say, you know, your cheapest is that, the straps, or Bungi Cords. Your next option at about 40 bucks is the Sherpa T bars. But again, you got to unscrew it. Then the easy on, easy off. The setup I have with the top plate and the bottom plate under here, not counting that I got to buy mounts, and I do have some Prinsu mounts, the tent mount that goes to the rail to be able to attach my base plate. You're talking for this about $300, 250 to 300 bucks, plus you got to get the mounts from Prinsu to marry your roof rack to that base plate. That's super expensive, but it's badass. Once you have it for life, and you can put it on any gear to have that easy snap on, snap off. And has a lock as well. That's including a lock. All right, which means when I come to this is $199. It's made for this case. It's so cool. And I think value-wise, you know, the EO2, amazing, but you're going to be paying about 50% more. You'll be in the $300 range, and you need other mounts to mount it. So this, let's take a look. Let me actually put it on pause. I will show you how that connects. Okay, I should really set up a tripod, shouldn't I? So just like that, it is on. Hang on. Okay, there you go. So obviously this is bolted down to your roof rack, and there's room underneath, you can see, for the bolts. You don't have to buy a mount to mount your mount. Say that 10 times fast. So it just goes straight on. They give you the hardware to do it. And then this piece simply goes down there. There's a hole on the backside if you wanted to screw it in permanently. I wouldn't, because look, it's gonna hold itself. And the way this works is goes up, and then you lift it up. You can screw this down to have it the perfect tightness, and voila, it's in place. So again, you can, once you have this mounted to your roof rack, you can adjust with a little bolt there. If I can get that in the picture, there you go. You can screw this to make this taller or shorter, so you get the perfect snap. And there you go. So you come after your long weekend, simply unlock, because there's a lock button, lift it up, off it comes, remove your gear. And then once you've done that, let me pop this from underneath, and you basically want to just store this piece. Well, this comes down, and you can put it like so right there, and then fold that down. So that's about the height. It's coming up to the same height as the little side pieces that hold in your case, and that's sitting on top of your rig. The only thing you would risk is someone wanting to steal that, because at $199, boy oh boy, and being so badass. But at least you get your case off, and you have low profile. You can park in the lower underground garages or whatever. But I think bang for the buck, if you want to, you know, you just spent, you know, $350 plus on your case, plus tax. So maybe Black Friday is a good time to buy if they have a sale. You spent that much money, you might as well get this, so you have just a kick-ass setup. You can put it on, take it off, and that, I think, I'm deciding as we speak, that's what I'm going to use to mount to my Prinsu roof rack. So it's late afternoon, right before the weekend, so tomorrow morning I will continue the video showing you mounting that, what it's going to look like at the top, on top of the rig. And I will show, actually, both. I will show the easy on, easy off, since I already have the top plate screwed into the base, which makes me think of one other thing. That is, of course, badass roll bag. If you want one of these, look at my link. Those are amazing. So I got a link to their store, which gives you 10% off if you want to get a cool tool roll. Put all your tools in there, roll it up so it's not making noise, and guess what? Put it in your case, because it's perfect width. Look at that. The width is super nice. But anyways, for those of you who do not want to screw into the base, as you can see, I've got some holes there underneath, and that's to support the base plate. So if you don't want to put holes in your brand new $350 plus case, well then get this, because no holes needed. It's going to be held by this on each end. Presto. The EO2 does require that you do some drilling. But anyhow, it's getting dark. It's one of the cruisers there. I got to get the cars parked and put my covers on it. That's the FJ40. I may do, so if you subscribe, I may do a video showing mounting a case up here with some tube mounts. And that's where the easy on, easy off would be pretty cool, is with some tube mounts. Okay, so I'll get the other Land Cruiser uncovered, and I think this black case will look pretty awesome on that. All right, stay tuned. Tomorrow morning we'll continue. Okay, now for our weather test. We're gonna crank the power washer up, and we are gonna spray it. And we'll see how it withstands hurricane winds. So we'll get that right into the edge, like you're going 100 miles an hour down the highway, headwind, raining. See if it gets wet inside. Also, you know, when you go to wash it, are you going to get water inside? All right, let me turn off the power washer. Okay, good and wet. In case you're wondering, that case underneath is a Husky. Great for putting in your car, not so low profile. So let's see how those gaskets held up. Pretty darn good. I could see just a little bit of water came in here, hit the bag there, and maybe when I opened it, a little bit of water came in down there. But you could see there's this rubber gasket that runs all along, and it seats right down here along this edge. So that's supposed to form a barrier. I mean, for all intents and purposes, most precipitation is going to fall down on it, not come on the side at, like, you know, 80 miles an hour. Well, unless you're driving, of course. So I think it held up well. Couple little droplets. So maybe if you are going in the rain, I mean, just to be extra, you know, cautious, if this is the front end, you might want to put something there to cover it, because that's where all your rain's going to come, or just put a garbage bag on top just for any of those little droplets. But seemed to do okay. All right, so I've got the case placed on the rack. It's not mounted, it's just up there. And this case, because I have two cases, so if you want to subscribe, you'll see another video on a different type of case. I'll do a comparison video. That's all I'll say. But I was trying to choose, is this black case going on Otis, that's that far rig there, or on Black Mamba? This is my diesel 80 series. So I think it's going to go on the diesel. So let's get up there and I'll show you the different style mounts and what I got going on. Okay, we're up top on the rig, and if you're going to be using this mount, you can see they have like a little 95 liter on it. It's cool. You're going to be wanting to line up your bars. Now on the Prinsu, you got some bars that are locked and some that can go in this channel here and be adjusted. So you'll need one on each end. Simply slip that down and you'll see how it's going to line up right there with your channel, with the rail, and you bolt it in there. I still have that bottom piece plate from the EO2 on the bottom of this. That's why it's not sitting flush, but you get the idea. I just wanted to show you this. I'm not mounting it with these, But for those of you who have a budget in mind, you could definitely go with the Sherpa for about 40 bucks. And that's the way you would put it down. And when you want to remove it, obviously you'd have to unbolt it. But there you go. And the problem with unbolting it, and if you're going to leave it unbolted, you're going to have the piece that goes into the rail, the carriage bolt is going to be sitting in there rattling around. So that's one thing to keep in mind as well, unless you tape it down. All right, but there is the rugged mount. So let's go check that side. All right, so grab my Prinsu handle. I have a link for Prinsu if you're interested in getting a Prinsu roof rack, and they got these cool little handles you can put on. All right, so on the Prinsu, obviously you have these bars, and that's how I attached it in the back here. So I have it where I had one bar adjustable, so to your right, and the other one that's fixed. So I got the fixed one down, then I figured out where to put this bar, and I got 4 anchor points. And be careful. When I was turning it, I turned too tight. I had too much leverage on my wrench. So be careful. Just, get it tight and snug. Don't crank it down too much. So I'll have to replace that. But right now, for all intents and purposes, 3 secure bolted points are plenty. This one, just because I had extra bolts, I did 5. And the way I did this one, I'm using 1 rail. And then I've got their mounting panel that they sell, that Prinsu sells. 51 inch, because that's what you need for a Land Cruiser. It's got a wider roof rack because it goes right to the rails, right? So bolted it down, positioned it, so now the case will slide right into place. So let me put it down and show you that. All right, so I have a tight fit here. So what I do is I actually tilt it, the case, to get underneath, and then lock it into place. And then on the front, just get here. All right, so again, put it out, just fits in, and then locked. And that case ain't going anywhere. So that's lock and loaded. And if you have, like I was reviewing other people that talked about Rome, if you have 2 rigs and you're trying to share a case between 2 trucks, so instead of buying 2 cases, I don't know, buy 2 mounts, and then you can move, from your Jeep to your Toyota to your 4Runner to your whatever Bronco, whatever your choice off-road vehicle is. And voila, it is on. I'm going to take this off and just give some final thoughts and show you a product you could use to, keep it from getting sun damaged. I don't know what the long term is, like the 2, 3, 5 year. The cases haven't been out super long to be able to do a review of how it will stand up to the elements. But I'll put a product on there that protects black, that I've used on black molding and plastics on vehicles. And no, it's not armor. I'll don't dare do that. So let me get the case down. I'll show you that. All right, case is off, but before we put the product on, I just remembered I also promised I would show the EO2. So there's the EO2 on the bottom of the box. So yes, you do drill holes, but don't worry about it. You silicone seal it, so no big deal. So that's on, and then the other thing is your bottom rail. So there's a top rail and bottom rail, and we're going to put it on Otis. So that way, I mentioned I had the rugged, the Rome rugged mount, and you can put one on each truck. Well, technically, I could mount with the rugged on the black, I call it Black Mamba, that diesel 80, and then I can put the EO2 on this one. So let's get up top. So you see, this is the carriage bolt rail in a Prinsu, so you can't go carriage bolt to carriage bolt. So I did have to put these tent mounts, so I've got them lined up, and now I'm just gonna sit the EO2 on top of that. And there's the EO2 upside down, so you can see it's got the same carriage bolt rail. So it's kind of like the same dilemma of mounting a tent to your Prinsu rack. You can't go carriage bolt to carriage bolt, so I had to put their tent mounts, and that way I will put the carriage bolts through there, and bolt them underneath. So let me finish that up. And by the way, you can't use the same carriage bolts on this. It's a much wider than the rail that you have on your Prinsu rack. So I had to go to Ace Hardware and pick up some larger 5/8 carriage bolts. And there's the mount. So it's obviously going to raise the case a bit. So if you're looking for low profile, you might want to use the Sherpa, and then you're not, having the ease of removing and attaching it. Unless someone has a different idea on how to attach this, I could have attached this lower by maybe putting something on the side, like a little bracket that came out from underneath that was lower, but I decided to do this. I felt it was pretty secure, and I don't mind that the case is sitting an extra inch higher. All right, let's get the case on. Okay, trying to get the camera in a good strategic position to show how this goes on. So you got to match up the rail there and then simply click it down, and voila, it is on. Sorry for that sun, I know that reflection's happening. So that's solid. That ain't going anywhere. Now when you want to get it off, you have to get one corner, and I'm using one hand, so that's why. But you got to leverage it on one corner. But otherwise, unless you're off-roading and you get a tree branch that hits that one corner in the perfect leverage position, it could pop it off in a 1 in 1,000, chance. Otherwise, once it's secured to that bottom plate, it ain't moving anywhere. Like 10,000 pounds won't move it unless you get 20 pounds on the corner, leveraging it on a kind of diagonal angle. But yeah, let's pop it on and see what this case looks like on Otis. Yep, it's on, looking cool. It's about an inch higher than it, it's not flush, so there you could figure out another way than I did, not using the Prinsu tent mounts. Like you can see, it's riding a little higher here. Yeah, not the best time of day to film this portion. I'll do the rest of the stuff in the shade, but that is the case with the EO2. So subscribe, stay tuned, because I will be putting a different case up on Otis using a different way of mounts. Like this is all about how to mount a Roam case, of course. But I love those rugged mounts. That's what's going to be going up here. So let's get the, this is where the case is going to go permanently using those mounts. All right, so let's wrap it up. Let me show you that product to keep the case from weathering from the sun, and I'll show you that. Okay, we found some shade. So before I show that product, it's going to be in that bag there. Just wanted to show those of you, and I have seen videos where people mount their recovery boards, Max Tracks, or in this case, Action Tracks. Way better than Max Tracks, by the way. You can see it's got the teeth, it's got metal and bigger handles, just made with a different product from DuPont, US made, so it ain't China made, being shipped from Australia. So check those out. The one bummer is you can't get Max Tracks inside, okay? This doesn't fit. Again, subscribe if you want a case that you can put your Action Tracks into, or whatever recovery boards. I will show you a different case option. But what people do is they mount it, and there's a good video online, so I'm not gonna try to reinvent it. And I don't need to mount these on my case here. I have different mountings. I can put it on the rear tire, the 5th tire, with the Bomber products, which I have those. I got about 10 of those. That company went out of business, and I got the last 10 mounts if you want to put it on your rear tire carrier. But people use the Max Tracks Extreme pins to mount the Max Tracks. You can see the holes kind of line up with a couple of these rigid lines here. So yeah, it requires you drilling, but you can mount your boards on top if you're kind of stuck for space. So, and if you're interested in these, they come in green, tan, like you see, black, blue, orange, and red. And I have them slightly discounted right now, so just hit me in the DMs. I'll put a link to my comparison video of Max Tracks to Action Tracks. But let's look now at this product. So trim coat, Cerakote. This comes in little packs. I'm down to my last one. So let's apply this. I've done this to molding on an LX 570 and that, you know, started to fade. The kick plate on the back of the tailgate. And I did it like halfway on it. I wish I could show it, but my wife is driving that truck today. And I left half of it normal, half of it with this. And it's been a year and a half and it's way blacker on the side that I treated with this. So let me open up this pack and show you. So obviously clean your case first. Let's try a strip in the middle here. So it goes on wet. It smells really good. And you just, I'm gonna really just hit the top of the case. That's what's gonna get most of the sun. Let's do half the case and see what that ends up looking like. And this is permanent, so when you do this, it's applied. It's not like you can wipe it off after the fact. Okay, let me get working on this and I will show you the finished look. So I did the front and I'm telling you the logo popped. It's got to still dry. It's just gonna dry black, but you can see the difference, how much lighter that is and how much blacker that is. So you'll probably need 2 of these to do the top and all the sides. But I'm gonna finish it off, get it to dry in the sun, and then put it up on the truck to wrap up the video. Okay, with that one Cerakote wipe, I did the top, the 2 sides, and the entire front. But if you've got a case, you've had a Roam case for a year or 2, wash it. You know, in this case, when I did my waterproofing test, I washed it effectively. And then you wipe it down, and you just wipe it even like when it starts to dry out. Just make sure you continue to wipe to have an even spread. And this thing looks better than brand new. I guarantee you, even when you buy one, put it on right away, it's gonna make the black blacker. Instead of being kind of like a faded black, it's black as can be. That's badass. So that's the Cerakote on it, and I'm gonna mount this up on the truck. All right, it's looking so good. Let me get it in the sun just for one quick shot in the sun. Oh yeah, that like restores the case big time. It does give it, right now it's still drying, it gives it like a satin sheen to it. I mean, that's direct sunlight, but look how dark that is. Okay, on the truck she goes. Overlanding never looks so good. Look at that. There she is on the rig. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Subscribe. You know, Roam is a beautiful case. They aren't cheap. They do come from on sale time to time. So if you subscribe, I will put out short videos. So if you hit the bell, you'll get a bell when this is on sale. So, you know, pre-Black Friday, after Christmas, Father's Day, you name it. So definitely subscribe. Or, you know, if your trip can't wait, it's still money well spent. And I recommend, after looking at all those mounts and everything we discussed, I recommend obviously the Roam case and that rugged mount. It's totally worth that money. That mount is built so well. All right. Happy trails, folks. Thanks for tuning in.